There's a nice viewpoint of Montreal from up on the mountain. That's Mont Royal. Not really much of a mountain, but it is the highest point in town, and no building is allowed to be built higher than Mont Royal. So from there you have a nice view, and then back into the city for a worm's eye, pedestrian's eye view of these tall, tall towers. Into the financial district. Like most cities, there's a part of town with the ultra-modern skyscraper glass towers. A lot of banks, a lot of offices down in this area. And there's a great restaurant right in the heart of town that we're going to give you an extended peek at here, Le Commensal. It's all vegetarian. That's right, you don't have to eat meat or fish or chicken even when you're dining. You can have a nice vegetarian meal sometimes. Take a little break from the heavy stuff. And look at this array of foods on the hot table. And they have a convenient way of charging you. Take a look. You put the plate on a scale. And that way you just pay for what you want. You pick it out yourself, you put it on your plate, you have a light meal if you choose, just some salads maybe, or some heavier foods, and it's all paid for by the pound. They have a chain of these restaurants in the large cities of Canada, and we really enjoyed eating at several of them. And it's also open during the afternoon, so if you're getting hungry, say at 3 p.m. or 4 p.m., just stop on by. They're open from 11 in the morning till 11 o'clock at night, and you can just help yourself. When you sit down for a nice light lunch like this, you'll find you've now got lots of energy, ready to take on another museum. Here it's the McCord Museum of Canadian History, right across the street from the McGill University campus. It's one of the premier history museums in Canada. Founded back in the early 1900s, they have 90,000 artifacts and one of the largest collections of historic photographs in the country. Founded by the McCord family, and it has recently expanded. They've moved into new headquarters, and they have a great display of the full span of Canadian history, ranging from the early ceramics of prehistory, native Indian longhouses, other kinds of displays related to the Native Americans who lived here first, and then on into the modern day. There's also a nice cafe at the McCord, and it's just across the street from McGill. Beautiful campus, one of the main colleges in Canada. By the way, it's a pretty good bargain if you want to send your American child off to a good university. McGill is a great place to consider. And on the campus, there's another museum that we're going to whisk you through briefly. It's the Redpath Museum. This is the oldest natural history museum in Canada, and it's a classic from the Victorian era. It's rather old-fashioned and eclectic in its display presentations, but that's part of its charm. It's a hodgepodge. There's dinosaurs, there's culture history, geology, we've got Egyptian artifacts, there's the canopic jars for internal organs, there's a mummy, and next to the mummy you can even see an X-ray of the mummy's skeleton. That's pretty exciting. And the collection is packed into this one room. You'll see African carving, samurai armor, a shrunken head, a funeral canopy, ethnological, archaeological, geological, Egyptian, and Roman. And the professors have their offices just down the hall, so there's a studious atmosphere. You'll find a lot of art scattered throughout downtown. Here's one of their major sculpture sets in the heart of the financial district. This neighborhood just below the McGill campus has lots of modern skyscrapers. And there's also a lot of restaurants scattered around. One of the more old-fashioned ones is Ben's Deli. This place has been here for 60 years. It looks like they still have the original furniture. Very practical and sturdy place, and they've got the original soda fountain signs as well too. The prices are not quite original, but they're very reasonable. You can get a nice milkshake for a few dollars, and you've got to try the famous smoked meat sandwich. You might go to Cat's Delicatessen for the original. This is one of many shopping malls in the city. They have these indoor complexes that extend down into the basement and continue underground for miles. Remember, in the wintertime, Montreal is pretty wicked with the temperature way down in the teens just about every day. So there's a lot of these indoor shopping malls right in the heart of the city. This is one of the biggest of all of them. And another favorite is the Desjardins complex you see here with this huge indoor atrium. There's a hotel on one side, shops and offices, 4 levels of shopping mall here. Just on the south side of Rue Sainte Catherine, they have nice art exhibits that appeal to the popular tastes at this shopping mall. It's on the east side of town heading down towards the Art Museum, Place des Arts, which is just around the corner. And they have a nice museum dedicated to contemporary art. There's also a theater here and a vast open plaza, something like Lincoln Center for the Performing Arts in New York on a smaller scale. And it's plugged into that underground shopping mall system. The Boulevard René Lévesque is another one of the main commercial streets, but there's not too many shops or restaurants on René Lévesque. It's mostly offices. So try and avoid that one if you're out for a walking tour. Now we're back in the heart of town again on St. Catherine into the Place Ville-Marie, another one of the major components of the indoor shopping mall system. And look how nice to have Renoir's Luncheon of the Boating Party here in this busy food court. My all-time favorite painting, and a great spot, this Place Ville-Marie, underground shops, and there's also a skyscraper restaurant up at the top that we'll show you in just a little bit in the program. We are going to show you more of Montreal, and then we're going to take you down to Toronto. And that'll be our final stop in our tour of Canada. We're in our taxi now, and it's driving us around. We're going past the great cathedral next to our hotel, Queen Elizabeth. We've shown you these sites already in the program, so we're just passing on by and up into this restaurant in the Place Ville-Marie. It has got the most spectacular view in town and fine dining. They have a very good kitchen here, a friendly staff. They really welcome you. And check out these views. You can see the Olympic Stadium. It's a roofed stadium, holds over 60,000 people. Really innovative technology there at the Olympic Stadium. Nice to come to this restaurant at twilight. You can enjoy the last rays of the sun and then watch the city turn on its lights at night as you enjoy maybe a 2-hour meal. Oh, just relax, take it easy. The day's over, got no place else to go. We're just going to have dinner and then back to the hotel. And our hotel's right across the street, so that's pretty convenient. No worries here in Place Ville-Marie. And the high quality of the food will meet your expectations. It's a grand way to cap off our visit to Montreal. But now the time has run out and it's on our way to the next city. We have got this nice porter service to help us take our bags out of the hotel. The Queen Elizabeth, as we mentioned, is right on top of the train station, so it couldn't be more convenient. We just take the elevator down from the hotel lobby and we find ourselves in the train station. And since we're traveling in first class via rail, we have the privilege that we can go and sit in the first class lounge to wait for our train. How comfortable. And they've got newspapers and they've got drinks inside, and it's a relaxing facility. We just wait for the moment when our train is announced and then we're brought down to the lower platform area. Otherwise, you'd have to wait out here in the main terminal. But with first class, we have the lounge and we're the first ones to board the train. So that's nice. We don't have to stand on line or fight the crowds. We're escorted right down to our train car and into our reserved seats. And the baggage porters are bringing our suitcases for us so we don't have to slug those bags. A little different than in our Europe tours where we generally bring our own suitcases onto the train in Europe. You're watching Hawaii Geographic Society's train tour of Canada, and we're on our way to the final city, Toronto. Our destination is a few hours away, so we'll have time to enjoy the ride and think back upon the trip so far.
Interesting. Every place is interesting.
Right, because it's our first time. It's our first time.
I guess more than anything, the history, yeah.
I didn't think I would, care much for the East Coast. I wanted to see the west side on the train ride, but it was wonderful. Yeah, really different. Learned something about this place.
Surprised you, huh?
Right.
Yeah.
Everything more than expectation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The architecture, interested me. I was interested, yeah, because it looks like a lot of European influence over there,
Right.
It's nothing like our country. It's a fairly cosmopolitan city,
The map shows our routing from Montreal to Toronto. It just takes about 4 hours, so it's a decent trip. We can relax and have a chat.
Architecture in Montreal is something else. Really enjoyed it. You didn't know it, but we went out early this morning walking just to go look at buildings.
Most beautiful thing was getting up this morning and opening up our drapes and looking out at the church right across the street and all the high rises and about surrounds it. It's the most beautiful sight we've seen yet.
Yeah, really.
Montreal, well, for the women, there's a lot of underground action. You can discover a whole new world underneath there. That was quite interesting because we discovered several shopping malls underneath there by accident. Found our way out and back home, but quite interesting.
That's good.
Montreal's a little more commercial. It's a busy, busy city. You think you're in San Francisco or New York.
Right.
It was fun walking around and seeing all the different architecture and buildings. Underground shopping malls.
Yeah.
And those food courts.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Okay. We had 2 days to enjoy Montreal, so we got a real good feeling for the city. We're riding the train from Montreal to Toronto on Canada's Via Rail system, and it's really comfortable. Nice smooth ride, nice and quiet here, air-conditioned car, beautiful big windows. We can look out and see the landscape rolling by. There's a lot of farms along the way, a lot of dairy barns, a lot of cows, green pastures, forest, trees, really nice things to see. It takes about 5 hours. With all of the food services, the time is passing very quickly. We started out with a little snack in the morning and coffee and juice, and then a nice lunch and beverage service. And now we're almost in Toronto, about another hour to go, and we'll be arriving in the big city. We started out the other day going from Quebec to Montreal by train, and that too was a very comfortable journey, just under 3 hours on that ride. And once we arrive in Toronto, we'll have 2 days there, and that'll complete our tour of Canada. The trains are big, so you can get up, you can walk around. Some trains have a dining car, sometimes there's an observation car, and you really have a lot to see out the windows. We're going through farmlands, passing golf courses, through some little towns and villages, and served piping hot meals. You'll have time to catch up on that book you've been trying to read. We travel with groups from Hawaii, usually a small group of 20 people or maximum of 28 people.
Montreal is a very intelligently laid out city. Love the subway. That's really cool. Subway is really cool. Enjoyed that a lot. Sort of like New York or Chicago, only, with all the charm.
Montreal and Quebec, we had a very wonderful time, and the visits we made were very nice.
I learned more on this trip than I did before. The guides were very knowledgeable. They were great.
We always like to make our tours an authentic learning experience, so we have local guides who are experts in the history. We'll bring you into some of the museums and give you some free time so you can go out and explore on your own as well too. And we like to make it comfortable. Traveling by train is very comfortable, especially first class. It's just like being in an airline first class, only better.